The conference room at Apex Innovations in Chicago went dead silent as CEO Victor Lang hurled the printed photo across the polished mahogany table. Alexander Reed, you pathetic liar, you thought you could hide being gay in my company. This picture with that man proves you're a disgrace to every real man here. Alexander's stomach dropped, his face burning as 20 executives stared in stunned silence. The image of him and Malik laughing at a quiet lakeside bench last weekend, now exposed under the bright fluorescent lights. His hands shook against the armrests of the leather chair, the room spinning slightly, while Lang's voice echoed off the glass walls. Pack your desk, Reed, you're done, effective immediately, and don't even think about suing. We have policies against this kind of deception. Alexander stood slowly, legs numb, forcing himself not to glance at the far end of the table, where Malik Rivera sat frozen in his IT director's seat, dark eyes wide with shock, and something deeper, regret, maybe, or fear. The two had kept their relationship secret for 8 months, stolen lunches in Malik's car, late-night texts that made Alexander smile through the long days of designing ad campaigns for Fortune 500 clients. Now that fragile world lay shattered on the table in glossy color. Colleagues whispered as he walked out head high, but insides crumbling, the click of his dress, shoes the only sound breaking the heavy quiet. Outside in the hallway, the city skyline glittered through the floor-to-ceiling windows, golden afternoon light pouring in like it mocked his pain. Alexander leaned against the cool marble wall, breathing hard, the humiliation settling into his chest like lead. He had moved to Chicago from a small Texas town 3 years ago, chasing the big corporate dream, his parents proud of their only son, the marketing whiz who never brought home a girl, but they never asked why. Now the secret he guarded so carefully to protect his job, his family's expectations, everything was gone in one brutal minute. His phone buzzed in his pocket, a text from his best friend Jake, probably checking if the rumors were true, but Alexander couldn't face it yet. He made it to his cubicle on the 20th floor, packing his laptop and a few framed photos, one of him and Malik at a Cubs game hidden behind a fake family portrait. The office buzzed with murmurs, heads turning as he passed security, already waiting at the elevator like he was some criminal. "Sorry, man," muttered one in turn, eyes downcast. Alexander nodded numbly, stepping into the descending car, the doors closing on the life he had built so carefully. Outside on Michigan Avenue, the wind off Lake Michigan whipped his tie as he hailed a cab, his mind racing through the fallout. What would his parents say when the news reached them back in Austin, the traditional Catholic family still waiting for him to settle down with a nice girl and give them grandkids? At his apartment in Lincoln Park, Alexander collapsed onto the couch, the city sounds filtering through the open window, sirens and laughter below, a world that suddenly felt hostile. He dialed Malik's number, but hung up before it rang, the humiliation too fresh, the fear that Malik might blame him for not being careful enough. They had been so cautious, no public dates, no office flirtations, just quiet evenings, cooking pasta, talking about dreams of starting their own creative agency one day. Now that dream felt impossible. A knock at the door startled him. Jake stood there holding 2 beers, his face tight with concern. "Dude, the whole floor is talking. What the hell happened?" Alexander let him in, pouring out the story, the photo, the shouting, the firing. Jake listened, nodding, but something in his eyes flickered, guilt maybe, or just shock. "That's messed up, man, you didn't deserve that." As night fell, Alexander stared at his phone, the missed calls from his mother piling up. He knew he had to call home, but the words stuck in his throat. Instead, he replayed the meeting in his head, Lang's sneer, the way colleagues averted their eyes, the isolation crashing down. Malik texted finally, "You okay? I'm so sorry, I should have said something." Alexander typed back, "Not now," then deleted it, the misunderstanding already growing between them. He had pushed Malik away in that moment of panic to protect him from the same fallout, but it felt like betrayal already. The night stretched long, Alexander pacing the small living room, replaying every choice that led here, the hiding, the fear, the love he never let fully breathe. By morning, he knew the fight was just beginning, but the psychological weight pressed heavier than anything he had carried before. The next morning, Alexander woke to sunlight slicing through the blinds, his head pounding from a restless night. His phone showed 3 voicemails from his mother, her Texas drawl already laced with worry. "Son, what's this? I hear from your cousin about some trouble at work. Call me." He dialed reluctantly, the ring echoing like a countdown. "Mom, it's not what you think," he started, but the words tumbled out, the confession he had dreaded for years. Silence stretched on the line, then her sigh heavy with disappointment. We raised you right, Alexander. How could you hide something like this from us? Your father is beside himself. The conversation ended with promises to pray for him, but the traditional expectations hung in the air, like smoke. Marriage to a woman, kids, Sunday dinners, the life they had pictured since he was born. Alexander hung up feeling smaller, the family pressure, now another layer on top of the job loss. He spent the day on the couch scrolling job sites, the city outside, bustling with people who had no idea his world had collapsed. Jake stopped by again, this time with takeout, their friendship, the one steady thing, but even that felt strained. Look, I heard Lang is making an example of you. Company-wide email went out this morning, Jake admitted, shifting uncomfortably. Alexander froze. You knew about the photo before the meeting? Jake looked away. Someone in HR showed me. I thought I was helping by keeping quiet, but maybe I should have warned you. The betrayal stung small but sharp. The loyal friend who had known about his sexuality for years, now part of the leaked chain. Alexander waved it off, but inside the crack widened, trust fracturing under the weight of everything. Malik called that evening, his voice steady but edged with hurt. I waited in the parking garage after the meeting you just left. Alexander closed his eyes, picturing Malik's strong frame, waiting in the shadows, the man who had become his anchor with quiet strength and easy laughter. I couldn't face you, not like that, Alexander admitted, the misunderstanding blooming. Malik sighed. You think I'm ashamed of us? I was ready to stand up, but you shut me out. The conversation turned tense, Alexander's fear of dragging Malik down, clashing with Malik's desire to fight together. They hung up, unresolved, the love still there, but tested by silence and distance. Alexander paced the apartment, the psychological conflict swirling, decisions weighing heavy. Should he fight the firing? Should he come out fully to everyone or disappear into another hiding place? By afternoon, he met his lawyer, a sharp woman named Elena, who listened to the story, her pen tapping. This smells like discrimination. We could sue, but it'll be ugly public. Alexander hesitated, the sacrifice already forming in his mind. Protecting Malik meant keeping their relationship out of a lawsuit. He left her office, undecided, walking along the lakefront, the wind whipping his jacket, the city lights beginning to flicker on. Back home, he opened a bottle of wine alone, the glass reflecting his tired face, the man he had hidden for so long, now forced into the light. Thoughts of Malik flooded in, their first date at a hidden jazz club, the way Malik's hand had brushed his under the table, the promise of a future unshadowed. Now that promise felt fragile, the consequences of his choices pressing down. Sleep came late, dreams mixing, the boardroom shame with Malik's supportive eyes pulling him toward a decision he wasn't ready to make. The following day brought more calls from old colleagues, some sympathetic, others distant, the societal pressure closing in like walls. Alexander updated his resume, the action feeling like surrender, but necessary, the growth beginning in small steps, facing the truth of his identity no longer optional. Jake texted an apology, but the rift friendship lingered, another casualty. That evening, Alexander finally texted Malik. Can we talk in person? The first step toward bridging the gap, but the answer took hours coming, the tension building. When Malik replied, tomorrow, my place, Alexander felt a flicker of hope, the love still strong enough to fight through the misunderstanding and pain. Yet the family expectations lingered, his mother's last words echoing. We just want you happy, son, but this path. The night ended with Alexander staring at the ceiling, the psychological storm raging, decisions looming, consequences already rippling outward. Alexander arrived at Malik's apartment in Wicker Park, the brownstone steps worn from years of footsteps mirroring his own exhaustion. Malik opened the door, his dark eyes searching Alexander's face, the tension from their last call hanging thick. Come in, he said softly, leading him to the living room, where 2 glasses of iced tea waited, the small gesture a reminder of their quiet routines. They sat across from each other, the city hum outside the window, the only sound at first. I'm sorry I pushed you away in the meeting, Alexander started, the words heavy but necessary. Malik leaned forward. I get it, you were scared, but we're supposed to be in this together, remember? The misunderstanding began to dissolve as they talked, hours passing, the love resurfacing in shared memories and honest fears. Yet the conversation turned to the bigger picture, Alexander's firing, the family fallout, the friend who had indirectly betrayed him. Malik listened, his hand eventually reaching across the table, the touch warm, grounding. You don't have to fight alone anymore, he said, the promise carrying weight. Alexander felt the shift inside the decision forming to stop hiding, at least with Malik. They cooked dinner together, simple pasta, the domestic scene a balm against the chaos, the romantic bond strengthening through action, not just words. Later, as they sat on the couch, Malik shared his own story growing up in a Puerto Rican family. In Chicago, the pressure to be the strong son, the one who dated girls and built a legacy. I hid too for years until I met you. He admitted, the vulnerability deepening their connection. The next morning, Alexander woke in Malik's bed, the first time they had stayed over since the incident, the closeness, a small victory. But reality crashed back with a call from Elena, the lawyer. We have something. The company's discrimination runs deeper than your case. I think we can build a class action, but it'll require evidence. Alexander's mind raced back to the boardroom meeting. His phone had been recording accidentally. The whole rant captured Lang's slurs, the threats to others, the toxic culture laid bare. He played the file for Malik, the audio chilling, the unexpected evidence sitting right there on his device, the turning point neither had anticipated. We can use this, Malik said, eyes lighting, the sacrifice clear. Alexander would have to go public, but it could change everything. They spent the day planning, Alexander's hands steady as he emailed the file to Elena. The decision made action, replacing fear. The psychological weight lifted slightly, replaced by purpose, the growth evident in how he stood taller. Jake called, apologizing fully, the friendship mending slowly. I should have had your back, man. Alexander forgave him, the betrayal, now a lesson in trust. That evening with Malik, they walked along the lake, the sunset painting the water gold, the romantic moment, a quiet promise amid the storm. Whatever happens, we face it together, Malik said, squeezing his hand, the bond unbreakable now. Yet family pressure mounted, his mother texting about a church counselor back home, the expectations refusing to fade. Alexander replied honestly for the first time, this is who I am, Mom. The words freeing and terrifying. As night fell, news alerts pinged. Elena had leaked the recording anonymously to the press, the video spreading fast, Lang's voice blasting across social media, the company's stock already dipping. Alexander watched the coverage, the evidence doing its work, the chaos beginning, the major shift in his fate unfolding faster than expected. He turned to Malik, the two men sharing a look full of resolve, the love and acceptance they had fought for, now the foundation for whatever came next. The psychological conflict eased into determination, the journey of self-discovery accelerating with every choice. The video exploded overnight, headlines screaming, Apex Innovation CEO caught in homophobic rant, the leaked recording playing on every news channel, the company's sleek Chicago headquarters suddenly under siege. Alexander sat at Malik's kitchen table, coffee in hand, watching the stock ticker plummet, investors fleeing, board members scrambling for statements. Lang's face appeared on screen, denying everything, but the audio was undeniable, his own words condemning the culture he built. This is bigger than us, Malik said, reading updates on his laptop, the unexpected evidence they had unleashed now toppling the empire one share at a time. Alexander felt a mix of vindication and fear, the consequences rippling outward, lawsuits brewing, employees speaking out, the entire firm teetering. Elena called mid-morning. The board wants to settle fast, your case plus others are piling on, you're not alone anymore. Alexander met her downtown, the office buzzing with reporters, the dramatic scene cinematic under the bright sun. He signed papers, the action solidifying his stand, the sacrifice of his old job, now a doorway to something new. Back home, Malik waited with takeout, the two men debriefing the day, the love deepening through shared strategy and quiet support. You did the right thing, Malik said, the words healing the earlier misunderstanding completely. They talked late into the night, Alexander opening up about the family pressure, his mother's latest call pleading for him to fix this, the traditional expectations clashing with his truth. Malik listened, holding him the bond a safe harbor. The next day brought more chaos. Apex announced an internal investigation. Lang placed on leave, the company's stock down 20%, the financial irregularities Elena had hinted at now surfacing in follow-up reports. Alexander's phone lit up with messages from former colleagues, some thanking him, others angry, the societal divide clear. Jake stopped by the apartment, his loyalty restored. I'm proud of you, man, I should have spoken up sooner. The friendship healed through honest conversation, the rift past, now strength for the future. Alexander felt the growth inside the man who once hid, now standing in the light, the psychological transformation complete in its quiet power. Family pressure peaked with a video call, his parents' faces tight on screen. "Son, we love you, but this mess with your job," the church says, his father started. Alexander cut in gently. "This is me, Dad. I'm gay, and I'm in love with a wonderful man named Malik." The silence stretched, then his mother's tears. "We just want you safe." Partial acceptance bloomed slow, but real, the expectations, shifting the conversation, ending with an invitation for Malik to visit Texas someday. Alexander hung up, exhaling, the weight lifting further. That evening, he and Malik cooked together, laughter returning, the romantic tension replaced by easy intimacy, the journey of acceptance advancing step by step. News broke that the SEC was investigating Apex, the leaked recording sparking a domino effect of audits, the company on the brink of collapse. Alexander watched from Malik's balcony, the city lights below, symbolizing new beginnings, the major turning point reshaping not just his life, but an entire corporate world. He turned to Malik, pulling him close, the decision made to build their future together, no more hiding, the love, now open and strong. The emotional climax built steadily, the consequences of every choice leading to this moment of clarity and courage. The boardroom at Apex was packed, the same one where Alexander had been shamed, now the scene of reckoning. He sat across from the interim CEO, Elena, beside him, the settlement papers ready, the company desperate to contain the damage. "We're offering full reinstatement, back pay, and policy changes," the executive said, voice strained, the leaked evidence having forced their hand. Alexander listened, the power dynamic flipped, the humiliation of weeks ago, now fuel for change. He negotiated calmly, demanding protections for all LGBTQ employees, the action reflecting his growth, the psychological scars healing into strength. Malik waited outside the building, pacing the sidewalk, his support unwavering, the love a constant through the storm. When Alexander emerged victorious, the papers signed, the company agreeing to reforms, the relief washed over him. They walked to a nearby cafe, hands linked openly for the first time, the romantic moment bright under the Chicago sun, the city witnessing their triumph. "We did it," Malik said, the pride in his voice deepening their bond. Back at the apartment, they celebrated quietly, the misunderstanding long forgotten, the betrayal from the past, now lessons learned. Jake joined them later, the three toasting to new beginnings, the loyal friendship restored stronger. Family acceptance grew with a care package from Texas, his mother's note reading, "We're trying, son, bring Malik home soon." Alexander read it aloud to Malik, the traditional expectations evolving into understanding, the journey complete in its human messiness. The company chaos continued, Apex stock stabilized, but under new leadership laying on the evidence having exposed deeper issues, the empire rebuilt on fairer ground. Alexander turned down reinstatement, choosing instead to launch a small consulting firm with Malik, the dream they once whispered about now reality. The sacrifice of the old job opened doors, the consequences positive in ways he never imagined. Days blurred into planning meetings with clients, the new venture thriving, the self-discovery arc closing as Alexander embraced his full identity. Societal pressures lingered, occasional stares or comments, but he faced them with Malik at his side, the love a shield and celebration. One evening at the lakefront, the two men watched the sunset, Alexander reflecting on the path from humiliation to empowerment, the emotional growth evident in every decision. "I wouldn't change a thing," he told Malik, the words honest, the bond unbreakable. The climax peaked in quiet resolve, the strong emotional release coming not in drama, but in the peace of authenticity. Months later, Alexander and Malik stood in their new office space, downtown, the walls freshly painted, the skyline visible through wide windows. The consulting firm hummed with early clients, the evidence that had toppled the old company, now a catalyst for their success. Alexander handled strategy sessions, Malik managed tech, the partnership seamless in work and life. Jake visited often, the friendship a cornerstone no longer strained. Family visits to Texas happened, the parents warming to Malik over Sunday dinners, the expectations transformed into quiet pride. "You two seem happy," his mother said one evening, the acceptance real, if imperfect. The city moved on, Apex rebranded under new leadership, the scandal fading, but the changes, permanent policies, updated employees protected, the ripple effect of one recording profound. Alexander walked the streets now, with head high. The man who once hid now inspiring others through his story, shared in quiet mentoring sessions. Malik remained his anchor, their love deeper tested and proven, the romantic moments woven into everyday life, dinners, walks, quiet talks. The journey of self-discovery, complete, the acceptance not just from others, but from within, the psychological growth, a testament to courage. One crisp fall evening, they hosted a small gathering, friends and new colleagues, the apartment filled with laughter, the past humiliation a distant memory. Alexander raised a glass to facing the truth. The toast met with cheers, the human connection strengthened through every trial, betrayal, sacrifice, and revelation. Malik squeezed his hand, the support constant, the love, the heart of their shared future. As the night wound down, Alexander reflected on the path, the actions, decisions, and consequences shaping a life of authenticity, the emotional arc, full circle. True or false? Hiding your true identity from the world is ever justified if it protects the ones you love?